A very good morning, students. In this video, I'm going to explain the Memorandum Joint Venture Account, problem number 4. Let's go through the problem. Here, X and Y entered into joint venture to share profit and losses in the ratio of 2:3. Here, their profit and loss sharing ratio is 2:3. And the amount contributed and received by co-venturers are given below. So the cost of material, that is 20,000 worth of materials contributed by Mr. A, here the co-venturers are Mr. X and Mr. Y. So here 20,000 worth of materials were purchased by Mr. X and 25,000 worth of materials were purchased by Mr. Y. And expenses, X incurred 3,000 worth of expenses and Mr. Y incurred rupees 4,000 worth of expenses. And sales proceeds, so Mr. X sold 30,000 worth of goods and Mr. Y sold 40,000 worth of goods. And stock taken over, X taken over 2,000 worth of material and Y taken over 3,000 worth of material. Now we have to prepare the personal account of both X and Y under Memorandum Joint Venture account. So first prepare Memorandum Joint Venture account. It is just like a joint venture account. Debit side record all the expenses, credit side record all the income. The first one, cost of materials. Here 20,000 worth of material were purchased by Mr. X. So to X account, under X account, first one, the material. How much material? So 20,000 worth of materials purchased by Mr. X. At the same time, Mr. X incurred the expenses of rupees 3,000. So the expenses of rupees 3,000. So this 20,000 worth of material and this 3,000 worth of expenses paid by Mr. X. So total 20,000 plus 3,000, 23,000. So this payment made by Mr. X to X account. And next, this 25,000 worth of material and the 4,000 worth of expenses paid by Mr. Y. So in Mr. Y to Y account, under that material rupees 25,000 and expenses rupees 4,000. So total 25,000 plus 4,000, 29,000. So and these expenses were paid by Mr. Y. So the cost of material and expenses were over. The next transaction, sale proceeds. So sale is always a income for a business. So record in income side. So 30,000 worth of goods sold by Mr. X. So by X account. This is the sales transaction. Sale. How much? 30,000. Then another one, Mr. Y. Mr. Y sold 40,000 worth of goods. So here by Y account. This is also the transaction relating to sales. So this sales made by Mr. Y, rupees 40,000. So this transaction is over. The sales transactions were over. Now stock taken over. So 2,000 worth of goods taken over by Mr. X and 3,000 worth of materials taken over by Mr. Y. While taking over the materials or goods, X and Y is paid the price of that material to the business. So it will be income. Any stock taken over or any material taken over by co-venturer, let's say income for joint venture business. So by purchase account. In bracket you can write down stock taken over. This stock taken over by Mr. X. So by X account. In bracket write down stock taken over. So how much Mr. X taken? Mr. X taken over 2,000 worth of material and Mr. Y by Y account. Mr. Y taken over stock taken. How much? Mr. Y taken over rupees 3000. So here all the transactions were over. One is material, cost of material, expenses, sales proceed, and stock taken over. All the transactions were over. Now make balance of this memorandum joint venture account. So 30,000 plus 40,000, 70,000, 70 plus 5,000, 75,000. In both the side, 75,000. 75,000. The balance figure on debit side will be 75,000 minus 23,000 minus 29,000 rupees. 23,000 is the balance figure that will be considered as profit on joint venture, and this profit distributed to X and Y in the ratio of 2:3. So 23,000 multiplied by 2 divided by 5. So 9,200 for Mr. X, and for Mr. Y for Y 13,800. So this is the profit distributed to X and Y. So here memorandum joint venture account is over. Now move on to the personal accounts of X and Y. So in personal account of X and Y, in the books of X. So here we should record only the transactions relating to Mr. X. So in memorandum joint venture account, the first transaction is relating to Mr. X. So under that, first one material, the second one expenses. Any material or any goods that should be debited with purchase. So to purchase. To purchase. How much? Material 20,000. Material 20,000. The next one, expenses. How much expenses? 3,000. The expenses debited with cash or bank. So to cash rupees 3,000. Next. The next transaction relating to Y. Now the third transaction is relating to profit. It includes both the profit of X and Y. Here we should take only the profits of X. How much the profit of X? 9,200. So here to profit and loss. To profit and loss 9,200. And now in credit side, this is the sales transaction relating to X. When the sales made by co-venturer, that should be credited with cash or bank. So by cash account. How much sales? Sales will be 30,000. Sales will be 30,000. Next. The next transaction relating to Mr. Y. Next, the next one relating to Mr. X. Stock taken over. How much? 2,000. When any stock taken over by co-venturer, that should be credited with purchase account. So by purchase account, in bracket you can write down stock taken over. So how much? Stock taken over 2,000. So 2,000. Now all the transactions relating to X is over. Now make balance of X account. The X account, the debit side is more than credit side. So 32,200 in both the side, 32,200. The balance figure will be 200. This will be considered as by bank account balancing figure. Balancing figure. So the X account is over. 32,200 on both the side. 32,200. The balance figure will be 200. This is the final settlement made to Mr. X. Now come to Y account. So in joint venture account, the first one relating to X. So the second transaction is relating to Y. So record this transaction in the books of Y. So which includes material and expenses. So material were debited with purchase and expenses were debited with cash or bank. So how much material? So 25,000. So in the books of Y, to purchase 25,000. So any material purchased by co-venturer, that should be debited with purchase. The second one, expenses. How much expenses? 4,000. Any expenses paid by co-venturer, that should be debited with cash or bank. So to cash account. How much? 4,000. So 4,000. The next transaction, profit. So which includes the profit of both X and Y. But here we should take only the profit of Mr. X. So how much? 13,800. So here the profit is 13,800. So to profit and loss. Now on the credit side, so the first one X, the second one Y. So this is a transaction relating to sale. Here Y sold 40,000 worth of goods. So if any sales made by co-venturer, that should be credited with cash or bank. So by cash, how much? 40,000. 40,000. 40,000. The next one, X account. This is stock taken over by X and this is stock taken over by Y. So how much? 3,000 worth of stock were taken over by Y. So in Y account, by purchase. By purchase. So how much? Rupees 3,000. Rupees 3,000. In bracket, you can write down stock taken over. Stock taken over. So now make the balance of this Y account. So here credit side is more than debit side. So 43,000 on both the side. 43,000 on both the side. The balance figure will be 43,000 minus 25,000 minus 4,000 minus 13,800. So 200 is the balancing figure. So here 200. This will be considered as balancing figure. So to bank account in bracket B bar F. So this is the Y account. So total is 43,000 and the balance figure will be 200. So this is the solution of problem number 4. So this is the personal account of X and this is the personal account of Y and this is memorandum joint venture account. So we're preparing the memorandum, the personal account of memorandum joint venture account. So keep these transactions in your mind. If any goods or materials purchased, that should be debited with purchase account. If any expenses paid by co-venturer, that should be debited with cash or bank. If any sales made by co-venturer, that should be credited with cash or bank. Any commission received, that should be debited with the commission account. Next, if any stock taken over, that should be credited with purchase account. I'll write here, if any stock taken over, by co-venturer, so that should be credited with purchase account. Purchase account. So these points should be keep in your mind while preparing the personal account of co-venturers under memorandum joint venture account. For material, purchase account. For expenses, to cash. For sales, by cash. For commission, to commission. For stock taken over, by purchase account. So this should be reported in the personal account of co-venturers. So okay, thank you students. Here the joint venture chapter is over. From the next class onwards, I will start the new chapter, consignment accounts.